Welcome everybody to another episode of The Unconventional Path. And today we are talking about how I directed and produced my first music video. Before we get into it, we want to give a big shout out to Jiggy Studios and LaShawn Ferguson, my amazing makeup artists. So recently I shot a music video and it is about to debut and we're so excited for it. I'm so excited for my clients, Javan and Dora, and for them trusting me to do the video. As most people know, I started as a playwright and then I went into film and doing a music video. The first time I was approached to do a music video, I think was in 2020 during the pandemic, 2020 or 2021. But as it was the pandemic, they were Bahamians that lived in Canada. A lot of logistics and things, it just never came to fruition. And this song was so good. But I did now have an opportunity to get the opportunity to work with some talented Bahamians. And I just can't wait for you to see the video. It's so amazing. And it was just an amazing experience. So I want to tell you about how I got the job, what I loved about it, what was difficult about shooting the music video, and then also how did that come about? Like, how was I involved? What all I did in order to see it come to fruition? So how I got the job is I'm very good friends with Javan, who is the lead singer in the video. And he had a video, I feel like it was a few years ago, and I remember just having a conversation with him. I was like not even thinking about like necessarily working with him on anything in the future. It wasn't like a plug or anything, but I just really didn't understand what was going on in the video. And I was asking him and he was just saying there was a lot for him to do because as an artist, he had taken on getting all of the logistics sorted out in terms of the actors, the locations, the script, and everything. It was just a lot going on for him. And so he said, the next time he would like to, bring a team on. And I said, yeah, that's always good. Because I know when we worked on other projects, when it came to plays, having everybody operate in their zone of genius helped to make the project so much better. And so we just had that conversation. I never even thought about the conversation again. And so at the end of 2022, he reached out to me and he said, you had a conversation with me the last time I had a music video and I want to engage you to help me to bring my next video to light. And I was just like, oh my God, it's on and popping. Let's do this. I had just recently moved and I said, we can have a lot of our pre-production meetings on Zoom and then I'll come in for production and then I'll just communicate with the editor during the post-production and it'll be great. We have so many avenues in order to make those come alive. And so the song is a love song. And so it's coming out around this time, which is Valentine's and Love Month. And so the timing is just so perfect. And I was so excited. So I wrote the script and I pitched him the script and we went back and forth with different ideas with Javan and Dora of how we were going to make this come to light. And it was just an amazing experience. So what I loved about the experience, I loved being able to create a story. It was a new challenge of creating a story from somebody else's, because it's essentially somebody else's words and it's a story that doesn't have lines. And when you watch the video, there's a little bit of dialogue at the beginning just because I needed some form of story in there, of that kind of storytelling in there. And there's a little bit at the beginning, but then, I love the challenge of creating a story out of somebody else's words and just seeing how all of it came to light. And like everything about it that went into making it happen, of the casting, the directing, the locations, of pulling it all together. I enjoyed that. I enjoy seeing the final product. At this point, the editor and I are going back and forth with the different drafts and just seeing it all come to light. And Rory Storr, he shot it, of Storehouse Productions. Shout out to Storehouse Productions. He shot it, he edited, and it just was amazing. And we had great partners that came on board. We worked with Daydon from Creative Eye Studio, who was a tremendous help when it came to makeup, styling, and even her studio was one of our locations. Special thank you to Matthew of It Is What It Is in Port Lacaya for helping us out. We also shot some scenes in our Airbnb, so we were making it work, and I just really enjoyed the whole process of bringing it all together. Now, what was difficult? So one of the things that happens, whether we were filming Easy Love, doing playwriting, unfortunately, we're trying to get there, but they're not full-time actors or singers or a lot of creative professionals in that form of industry. And so therefore they have full-time jobs. And so we had to work a lot around full-time schedules and making in schedules work and logistics and all of that. And so that tends to be difficult just because you have to work around certain times. Also, I flew home in order to do the project. So also working with you know, being home for a certain amount of time to get it all done. But I think even with those challenges, it still was definitely worth it. I'm so excited that it was my first project. I'm so excited that they chose me to be a part of that first project. And so a lot of the things that went into it that some people may not know, like what all do you have to do if you're doing the music video. So you rewrite the treatment. It's sort of like the script. The treatment was the layout. So that was the first. There were a lot of meetings of, do you like the treatment? What do we need to change? What do we need to move? And so then there's casting. There was not a lot of casting for this one in terms of main roles because of the fact that the leads were played by the lead singers and it was their music video. So we had that going on, but also we had to cast for extras. Luckily, I grew up in the theater, and so we have a very diverse group of theater professionals, and the Yard Group, shout out to Yard Group and the president, Daryl, who just came all the way through. And though the team that he brought out for extras, they were just professionals. They were great. They worked with us, and it was just a really bomb night. So casting was something that we had to do, but it wasn't too difficult. Negotiating with different locations, because sometimes when you book locations, you have to pay a location fee, or you have to do some form of barter. And so booking locations was something else that we had to do, and making sure all of that happened. Constant communication with the cinematographer and the editor of letting them know the script and the treatment. And then when we get on set, directing the set. And there were things that Creative Eye Studio just helped us with that we didn't have, because usually you would have someone on for costume, but all of us had to kind of work together for that. And then hair and makeup, Creative Eye came on board with that, and just getting that flow and getting the story moving. So it was so good, and there were so many moving parts, and there were extras that we had to do extra roles. There was Niall, Laura, Evan. They just kind of came through and just did their thing. So there's a lot of moving parts that go along with a music video. Not as intense as a film, but we did shoot it over several days. Now, it's probably something that we could have shot in one day if we didn't have to work around working schedules, but I think we shot it over a period of 3 days. But just because there were certain scenes we could get at night, there were certain scenes we could get at day, and there were certain individuals that we had to block at a certain time, and even with locations, because again, all of that comes into play. So there's a lot of locations, there's a lot of movement. So for a 5-minute video, there were 3 different days that we had to do setup and breakdowns in different locations, but it was worth it. It was a totally great experience, and I would definitely do it again. It was my first music video, but I'm looking forward to doing more. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think below about doing music videos, about doing films. If you have any feedback, of any suggestions of things that I could do in the future that is a part of film, just let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.